Alright, this is it. This is the beginning of my ultimate Tarkov guide. The accumulation of 3,500 hours of being a rat and making lots of money. I want to talk about everything that I think is important. I'm going to talk about everything that I do, probably from an out of raid perspective. And then I'll do a little overview of how I make money and stuff. And honestly, this is basically just a huge info dump. I'll try and I'm terrible at editing videos, but I'll try and add like little chapter things in the whatever the bar that has the time, so you can skip between which chapters you would find most relevant. So anyway, I'm just gonna dive straight into it. This is gonna cover everything I can think of. So first off, I'm gonna start out with to do anything in Tarkov, pretty much you need rubles. So I'm gonna start off with what I do. First things first, I value scav rep highly, as you should. Especially early wipe, because the faster you can raise your scav rep, the faster your scav will come off of cooldown. Scavs coming off of cooldown is important for a couple of reasons. One, it makes the cooldown, one, your scav can spawn with quest items on them. I got my found and raid Pilgrim, I got my found and raid Black Rocks, I got my found and raid Labs key cards for Jaeger. What else did I get? I think I've spawned in with a vase before, which you need found and raid. I've spawned in with a lot of the stims needed for samples. Just a lot of things, especially high value items that can just magically appear in your inventory when you spawn in, that are pretty important for some quests down the line. So the higher your scav rep, the faster the cooldown. And also, the worse your scav rep, the longer the cooldown. And I know there's a lot of people who are like, why scav? I can just PMC because I'm so good at the game, which is true. But I find that scav runs, especially the ones that I do, you can maybe get a scav run done in 3 to 5 minutes, depending on what you're looking at. And depending on what you spawn in with, you can make like 200k in just like a 3-minute raid. You go in, you hit a couple weapon crates, and you leave, or you hit a PC block and you leave. You just go into Black Knight, and maybe you just loot the jackets and the weapon crates on the top of the building, and you leave. So there's a lot of quick in and out things you can do to make you a decent amount of money and then just get straight back into your PMC, which is important early wipe because you want to be questing as often as possible, but you also need to make money to not only forward PMC loadouts, but also to effectively complete quests, because gunsmith requires a lot of cash, your hideout requires a ton of cash. So all these things combined lead to, you need money. So okay, so here is my usual scav route. You can pause the video here and look at this. I hope the text is visible. It should be. But so I'll just go through it real quick. 9 out of 10 times when I spawn on reserve, I spawn somewhere in this lower area here. Oh, can you not see my mouse? Son of a bitch. Okay. Now you can see my mouse. Alright, so anyway, 9 out of 10 times I spawn in this area. Oh my goodness, this is ticking me off. There we go. Okay. So 9 out of 10 times I spawn in this area down here. What I'll do is I'll move up over here. If you spawn on top of the bunkers, there's a weapon crate by the LAV. There's also some other loose bags over here. I usually don't go into the barracks because most of this is key rooms. There's a weapon crate, I believe, in this little station if you want to grab that. Weapon parts can spawn on the ground here. There's a toolbox. There is a loose valuable loot by this LAV, and there's also a ration crate. There's a weapon crate right here by a barrel. Tank battery can spawn by this LAV. There's a toolbox and loose loot inside this bunker. You can go into Long Garage if you want to, but RBST is kind of, I wouldn't say high traffic, but they're having PMCs in there. Usually the PMCs, if they're in there, they're too freaked out to leave when they hear running. So I usually just run past RBST and just leave them alone. You can go through a mechanic if you want. There's a toolbox underneath the yellow van. Most of the time it's unlooted because a lot of people just don't loot it for whatever reason. Now here it depends. If this is early wipe and you need flash drives, I would hit Black Knight because there's so many filing cabinets there. There's I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there's 6 or more sets of filing cabinets. 6 or more towers of filing cabinets in Black Knight. So I would definitely hit Black Knight if you need flash drives. If you don't, I usually skip Black Knight, and because it's a hot. Most of the time, it's looted. There's other scavs there who might not be friendly. There's other PMCs there who are just camping there the entire game. And those 3 reasons, or Gluhar's there, and he'll just kill you. So before you have 6 rep. So those 4 reasons are why I usually avoid Black Knight unless I need a flash drive. So continuing on from there, I go past Queen. I don't go in. Okay, first off, this is King. It's not Queen. This is wrong. Dome is Queen. This is King. Don't forget. That's part of my ultimate guide. Get your fucking chess pieces right. Anyway, there's a toolbox inside the hermetic bunker button room. You can hit that if you want. Then here, this is the biggest section of good loot in Tarkov that is just almost 99% of the time untouched because no PMC has the balls to come and loot this during the match. So first off, there's a lot to talk about here. There is the little outpost raised platform right here. Has a big weapon box on the top of it, and weapon boxes have really good loot. Highly recommend looting that. Then you can always go prone underneath it, and then there's a static body spawn underneath it, and that can have valuable loot in it. Then once you're back outside of that, there are 3 crates on a forklift and a flatbed right about here. There's the 2 crates on top of the flatbed are ration crates. The 1 crate that is by the forklift is a medical crate. I found all sorts of good stuff in that medical crate. I found found and raid syringes in the medical crate, found and raid blood sets, found and raid medical tools, which I used for my hideout, stuff like that. Then moving on, there is and those 2 ration crates are very important early wipe because they have Amelia croutons in them. They have the Tushanka cans. All the stuff you need to get Jaeger's quests rolling can be found in these ration crates, which is really important because getting Jaeger's shit done early really helps boost your XP and gives you a reason to go woods. So that's good stuff. Okay. Moving on, there's the helicopter. Actually, no, before I go to the helicopter, there's a yellow van, and on the side door of the yellow van, there's a medical spawn. This medical spawn can range from crappy to insane. I found all my found and raid CMS kits at this van. I've found and raid propofol. I found and raid adrenaline, morphine, Salewas, you name it. So, and honestly, found and raid Salewas are really nice because you need 3 of those to get your shit done for therapists, which is important. And then one thing that I didn't notice until this wipe is actually outside, past this yellow van on the opposite side of where you loot the side door. There's 2 stretchers on the ground. Meds can spawn on top of those stretchers and in between those stretchers. And I found more Salewas, more CMSs, medical tools. I found stims there. I found Grizzly medical kits, and a Grizzly early wipe is really, really money saving. So I found all sorts of those things on the ground there. Do not disrespect the stretcher medical spawn. It's very good. And then moving on to the helicopter, there is a jacket on the forklift right here that you can loot. Then there are 3 weapon crates inside the helicopter. There's one at the back, and then there's one on top of the crates at the front, and then one at the ground of the helicopter in the front, like towards the pilot seat, the cockpit, whatever. Okay, moving on. At this point, it depends on how big your backpack is, and if you think there's shooting or anything. If you think Black Pawn, if you think there's people in Black Pawn or there's people in Black Bishop, you can do 2 things. You can either double down and hope and go near them in voice chat and hope that they're nice and then keep looting, or you can run back to checkpoint fence and just leave. Because leaving early as a scav is not detrimental because you've made a profit and your scav, like the shorter your scav run is, the faster you're into your next PMC. So you don't have to spend 30 minutes on your scav just to get an extra, 20k rubles or some crazy shit. And if you do, what if you die? If you die, it's a complete waste of your time. So because there's no stat, like the stat progression on your scav doesn't affect your PMC. Nothing of that sort, and there's no gamma container. So if you think it's dangerous, leave. So moving on, if you want, there's obviously plenty of loot in White Pawn and Black Pawn. There's weapon crates in White Pawn. I assume there's filing cabinets in White Pawn. What I like to do is on this side of Black Bishop, there's actually 4. If I think correctly, there's 4 PC blocks on this side of Black Bishop. There's one on the first floor. They're all on the rights. They're all on like this side of the building. There's one on the first floor, and in the back right room. It'll be like right around here. There's one on the first floor. I think there's a green glow stick or a green flare in that room. There's a PC block there. And then if you go up the stairs to the second floor, the first door in front of you as you come up the stairs, there will be another PC block there in that room. And that room has medical spawns on the couch, which is important for found and raid Salewas. Then if you go up a floor, and then across the hallway, still on the second floor, there's another PC block, which would also be in this corner. And then there is a 4th PC block on the top floor, and that is on this side. Then there's also a weapon crate. There's medical spawns on the second floor. There's weapon attachment spawns on the second floor. There's 2 filing cabinets on the first floor. There's just a whole lot going on this corner of Black Bishop. If you're feeling greedy, early wipe, I would definitely get greedy because I have seen gas analyzers left in the drop down, the tech room drop down. So I would 100% when it's early wipe, unless you've another found and raid item that's really important, like if you have a flash drive or something, I would just leave. But if you don't have a flash drive or a gas analyzer and you're scavving on reserve, I would loot every filing cabinet you can, and I would always check drop down. Because gas analyzers, they were a bitch to find. And to find mine, I just kept going tech drop down. I just kept going, and eventually I found them on dead PMCs. I found them just left on the shelves. So always, always, always check tech drop down. Super important, super important. Um, and then when you come out of Black Bishop, if you don't have any loot, or say it was looted, or say that there's a fight going on in there or some other shit, on this side of Black Pawn, there are 2 weapon crates and 3 filing cabinet stacks. There's a weapon crate and a filing cabinet stack on the first floor there is another weapon crate on, I want to say, the second floor, and then on the it's either the fourth or the third floor. There's a metal grate door. It's actually part of the quest inventory check, I believe. It's the room that doesn't require a key. It has two filing cabinets in it, and these are usually not hit. Um, and it's really really good early wipe for checking those for flash drives. Uh, I'm telling you, like, don't disrespect filing cabinets early wipe, because god damn it, do you need flash drives? So anyway, and then also once you're done with all of that, if you want to, you can go down behind. If you go behind Black Bishop and underground, there is a there's three ration crates, there's three toolboxes, and there's weapon attachment spawns. So if you spawn on this side of the map, you could just hit Black Pawn, Black Bishop, these ration crates, hit helicopter, and you could just leave checkpoint fence. And you will probably have made like 150 to 300k depending what you find, even more if you're lucky. So really, 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 and the best part about this is it's fast. It is so fast. And once you get the higher your scav rep, you start unlocking more extracts. So right now, like once I got around 1 to 2 scav rep, I basically had every extract on the map unlocked. So whenever I spawned on this side of the map, I almost always had checkpoint fence. So really, really good shit. Okay, that's it for the scav run. I know there's a lot of lighthouse loot runs. If you have a more preferable scav run that you like doing, go ahead. The reason I like doing this is because it is extremely, extremely profitable in terms of survivability. I think I have around 350 scav raids, and I have a 94% survival rate. Um, so of my 350 raids, I've survived 335 of them or 330 of them. And some of those deaths were like Gluhar. Some of those deaths were me trying to negotiate with PMCs. So that could have been an even higher. And then also some of those deaths have just been because I'm like suiciding to find flash drives early wipe. So just that's why I like this run. It's so safe, and if you live on your scav, it's profit. It's that simple. If you get out alive, you've made money. Okay, moving on. See what's next on my list. Alright, so next is the flea market. Alright, plenty of things to talk about on the flea market. First off, in my opinion, if you want to pinch the most pennies, make a wish list. So many things on Tarkov, when you don't need them, when you're not looking for them, they might be at their cheapest point. So I also do. There's a bunch of barter trades I do. So I will stock up for these barter. Like, so right now, look at this. There's three whiskeys here for like 34 grand or whatever. I could buy these now and do the barter trade later instead of having to pay 38 grand. So these, I mean, obviously, I know, it's like this guy's pinching pennies at 67 million rubles, really. But this is how you get 67 million rubles, all right? You pinch every ruble you can, pretty much. So I make a wish list for all the barters I do. I do barters that involve whiskey, vodka. This pro kill medallion trade, you can do a barter for an M4. It's really good when pro kills are at 60 grand. So I wishlist this and I just wait for them to drop to 60 grand or 65 grand. Chainlets for what's it called? Chainlets for armor. These are for impact grenades. You need this for your hideout. Just a wish list of barter items for barter trades. Really important. Highly recommend doing it. Yeah. And as for I know there's a lot of, like, since we only start with 2 slots, 2 flea market slots this wipe instead of 3 like all the other wipes. So it's really important to maximize those 2 slots. Early wipe, uh early wipe, I would only flea market things that I knew would sell quickly. Like say you get like a Raiders, say you get like a say you find an RSAS, for example. Say you find an RSAS in marked room. And you've already done your gunsmith task, so you don't need it anymore. So instead of flea marketing every single piece on it, I would only flea market the stuff that's valuable. Like so, everything on an RSAS is pretty valuable, but some stuff sells fast. Like the PMag that comes in an RSAS sells for 20 to 30 grand, and it'll sell in like 15 to 20 seconds. But the barrel, even though the barrel sells for 30 to 40 grand, the barrel might not sell ever. Like it'll take hours to sell an RSAS barrel. So that's why like I will just vendor that stuff because it's not worth wasting a flea market slot for the couple thousand rubles. So if you find something else, like say you find a random, front grip and that front grip sells for 20 grand. Maybe that's worth the ruble count. Maybe if you're going into a raid, you put that up on the market, but or maybe you just hang on to it instead of putting it up on the flea market because it's going to take too long to sell. Just little decisions like that. Okay. I'm gonna cross over my flea market. I'm gonna cross over my flea market section with my barter deals section. So I'm just gonna go through basically every good barter that I do. Um, I think it might be a little overkill, and this section's probably gonna take a while. But I think this is probably where I make my most money. I'm not gonna lie. I probably make guns for maybe like 2/3 the cost of my friends because they don't want to bother with barter trades. So first things first, let's talk about whiskey. Whiskey is regularly 30 to 34 grand. So if you buy three of these, so if you buy three of these for 33 grand, that's basically 100K. So you buy three whiskey and you buy one vodka. Now, most of the time, vodka's way cheaper than this. You can get vodka for like 17 or 18K. You don't need to pay this much for it. So I paid around 120 grand for this, and you can barter for this M4. So now to be fair, this is Peacekeeper level 4, so this is late game. This is for my level 37s. And maybe you don't care about money at this point, so this might not affect you. But for people who still want to get the most bang for their buck, you pay 120K. You take off the stock. So this is one of the best stocks in the game. It's not the best stock in the game for recoil, but it's the best stock in the game for recoil ergo like hybrid. If you want the best of both worlds, um, you can use this M4 if you want to. I don't usually use M4s. I'm a big DMR fan. So boom. So I spent 120K to get this M4. I'm now vendoring it for 106K, which means I spent about 14 grand to get this stock, which is, let's see here. I spent 14 grand to get a stock that's worth about 15,000 rubles and a scope that's worth 30,000 rubles. So I basically just saved 30 grand doing that barter trade. Um which is huge because that's the cost of a suppressor, for example. So now the money that you spent on your scope and your stock that you saved can now be invested into on a suppressor instead. So put those away. All right, moving on. I'm just gonna go through my wish list. Pro kill medallion, same thing. This is actually way more relevant because this barter trade is at mechanic level 2, so you can do this barter trade as early as level 20. And pro kill medallions, from my experience, are pretty cheap early wipe. They were regularly like about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, they were only 60K. Their price has steadily gone up. I think because more and more people are getting to this barter trade, and they're recognizing its value. So even at 140 grand, it's still pretty good. Because you're basically getting the stock for free. You probably save like 15 grand. So still worth it to do. Definitely very good early wipe. If pro kill medallions are ever at 60k, I would buy as many as you can at 60 grand because you can do 2 of these trades per reset. Really good barter trade. Really easy way to get scopes and stocks for your guns. Chainlets. Chainlets are used for the Ragman barter at level. I think it's level 3. So this is level 30. Level 32, I believe. So level 32, you can barter for this tier 4 rig. This is a really solid rig. It's a solid rig for a couple reasons. One, the penalties are not bad at all. For a tier 4 rig, these penalties aren't that bad. They really aren't that bad. Also, it's Titan material, and Titan is one of the better durability materials. Plus, it has 60 durability. So this combined makes it its effective durability is pretty good. And it only weighs 7 kilograms. 7 kilograms is extremely light for an armored rig. Like an AVS is 8.7, attack tech is 9.5, 8.3. I think a TV110 is like 10. Yeah, TV110's 10. So it doesn't have any 4 slots in it, but solid rig, and it's extremely cheap because glasses are only you can honestly I have these wishlisted as well, but you can get these for 7 grand. Sometimes they go lower. Even at 10 grand, they're really worth it. Let's say that's a 10 grand. This is 30 grand for 3 glasses, and then you can trade chainlets for these visors, and a chainlet is usually like 5 grand. Come on, yeah. So it's 5 grand for a chainlet. So basically, you spend this is 30k and this is 15k. So you spend 45k, which is cheaper than a rat rig, mind you. This is cheaper than a 6B3TM at Ragman level 2 by almost 10 grand, has more space and weighs less and has more durability. And you can do 2 of these per reset. This is one of the best this is like one of the best budget armor trades in the game. And once you hit level 32, you can just do this as long as you want, and you'll always have like cheap armor to wear into raid, and like cheap, decent armor too. That can actually, hold stuff and it won't slow you down. So really like this barter trade. Okay, continuing on. D-size batteries. This is just for the RGO and the RGN. Honestly, this won't be relevant for many people because both of these grenades are now Prapor level 4. So I wishlist them, but I don't really do it much anymore. I have a grenade case full of impact grenades, so this is for the hideout. Gas analyzer and UV lamp. This is a big one. So grizzly prices fluctuate greatly, but so right now full grizzly is only 21 grand or like 27k. So it's not that expensive, but grizzlies fluctuate in price every now and then. But this barter is usually super cheap. You can usually get a gas analyzer for 14k and then a UV lamp for anywhere from usually 9 to 10k. And so with that price, you pay like 23 grand for a grizzly. And even if even if grizzly prices like skyrocket, the barter trade is usually pretty consistent. And grizzlies are great for healing out of raid and bringing into raid because they heal fractures, heavy bleeds, the whole kit and caboodle. Okay, this is for my DMR gamers, and this really depends on what kind of DMR gamer you are. I have fallen in love with the G28 this wipe. This gun is very sexy. It's extremely accurate for how short the barrel is. This is a 16.5-inch barrel with 1.1 MOA. This is a 16-inch barrel for the SR25 that is 1.5 MOA. So the difference in accuracy, even with a short barrel, makes the G28 pretty like incredible for sniping. I love this gun to death, and the reason why I have that item wish listed is because you can barter. You can barter one of these key cards for a G28. Now, depending on what you buy it at, depends on whether it's worth it or not. So you can straight up buy a kitted G28 from Jaeger at level 33, at level 4 Jaeger basically. And if the key card is, so to build this gun, I did the math. To build this version of the G28, if you build it from the key card, I think it's 340k. If you build it from the Jaeger, if you just buy it from Jaeger and build it from that, it's about 380k. But so that was me doing the math. If I bought the key card for 180k, so I guess if you want to really pinch the pennies, you can do this math yourself. It's been a while since I did it, so things might have changed depending on the prices. But if this key card is anywhere between like 210,000, or if it's 200,000 or below, and you want to use the G28, I would always buy these cards at 200,000 or below. Most of the time, that is an effective barter, and you will be saving money compared to buying the kitted one from Jaeger. So I would definitely do that. It's a level 3 barter from Peacekeeper. Then I usually sell the scope. I sell the scope, the stock, and the handguard, and then I buy the better handguard. I buy the better stock, and I put a different pistol grip on. Also very solid. Moving on. The SR25. I actually had a. I'm kind of getting into my DMR. I have a list of 308 guns and how to best use them. Or not a list, but the 308 is probably my favorite caliber in Tarkov, just because of its consistency at any distance. Well, maybe not M80, but everything else. So a lot of people have been talking up the RFB this wipe because the RFB is only 55 grand for an extremely cheap and accurate DMR that doesn't really need a lot of modding. And someone else on YouTube, it was just a random commenter, enlightened me that there's really no reason, there's no big reason to go with the RFB when the SR25 is at its current price. So, right now, I saw SR20 the SR25 go down to 60 grand last night, but obviously the prices fluctuate. So the RFB, if you want a full durability RFB, most of the time you gotta pay 55 grand for it. So the SR25 is usually 70. It's around. I would say it's around 70 grand. Maybe you can say 72 grand if you want. If you want to be pedantic, but yeah, there's another 70, 100, under 100 out of 100 SR25 for 72 grand. This guy stripped it, being a butt cheek, but you know, it is what it is. Yeah, or you can just repair this one with mechanic if you wanted. And this guy left M80 in the mag. What a nice guy. So anyway, an SR25 has 54. So this, I would call this a stock SR25. This has 54 ergo, 138 recoil, while an RFB, stock RFB, has 49 ergo and 159 vertical recoil. So you're paying about you're paying around 15,000 more rubles for an SR25 than an RFB, but you're getting significantly less vertical recoil. Well, maybe not significantly less, but think of all the things you can buy in game that reduce recoil by 20. You know, right now this is a 19 recoil difference. No, sorry, 21. It's a 21 recoil difference between the SR25 and the Kelt and the RFB. That's a lot. If you think of it in like a ruble amount for reducing vertical recoil, that's a lot. That's like a suppressor's worth of recoil reduction. So spending an extra 15K for that isn't that bad. So if you're looking for a DMR on a budget, I would definitely see down to 68 grand. Now it's only 13K more. So I would definitely. This is why I have this wish listed, because the SR25's price can fluctuate anywhere between 60 grand all the way up to 80 grand. So I wish list this so that whenever the price is this low, I maybe just I buy one. Okay, maybe I don't buy one. Thank you. I buy one, I take it, I fucking take out the pistol grip, take out the mag, we throw it in the weapon box for a rainy day. Um, and you can also, as you can see, the one that I have equipped right now, you can do a barter trade to do you can get the Alcan Spectre, you can get the stock, and boom, you've got like this is a besides the I have a meta buffer tube on. I have the level 40 mechanic buffer tube on. Besides that buffer tube, like this is a pretty budget setup. Um, Especially once you have I think it's level 3 skier. It might be level 4 actually. Let me see. Oh, it's level 4. Never mind. Yikes. Anyway, moving, but you get the point. Like these barter trades, when look at that, 60,000. These barter trades, when combined with each other, you can get some extreme value out of some really good guns. Leather caps, when combined with the boss caps, can be bartered for a Thunder Beast suppressor. This barter might seem expensive because it's around 36,000 to it's like anywhere between 36 to 45,000, but the Thunder Beast suppressor is really expensive. So most of the time, this barter is still worth it. And I think this barter can be done. This barter is skier level 3, which I think is only level 26, maybe less. So, moving on. Light bulbs. So unfortunately, this barter trade is really only worth it when light bulbs are 5K, or like 6 to 5K. Unfortunately, light bulbs have really not dropped in price this wipe. They've been expensive all wipe. Maybe there's a craft for them that I don't know about, or a different barter that I'm not doing, but there just hasn't been a lot to spend light bulbs on. It could be because of the beta 2 trade, but this is the barter that I do. It's for this Glock. What I do is this Glock. If you can get light bulbs at 5K, you can get this Glock for 25,000. You can take off the Delta point, and then you can vendor the gun for 22,000. So you only spend like 3 grand on a Delta point, which is kind of insane. So honestly, even if light bulbs are at 7 grand, this barter is still worth it, because I think a Delta point is, yeah, a Delta point's over 20 grand on its own if you just buy it straight up. So I would definitely recommend doing that barter if light bulb prices ever go down. This isn't a barter trade. I just like this helmet. Circuit boards I've been keeping an eye on because there's an Ash 12 barter that involves a circuit board. Most times, so this is my 5th wipe. Every wipe before this, circuit boards have eventually dropped in price to around like 50,000, 50 to 60,000. So eventually, this barter is worth it because you can just, even if you don't use the Ash 12, you can just vendor it and it makes you money. So I've been keeping an eye on those, but I don't think their price is going to come down anytime soon. Bleach. There's 2 trades that use bleach that I like. A lot of you probably know this trade. 2 bleach for a Ratnik helmet. This is a really good trade because, one, the Ratnik is really good early wipe because a lot of people use 9mm PSTGZH, which the Ratnik will stop. You need to wear the Ratnik for Punisher part, I think it's part 5. It's either part 4 or part 5. You need to wear the Ratnik. So you're probably gonna go through a lot of Ratniks on that quest, unless you're a god. So that's important. You also need 2 Ratniks for a Ragman quest. So honestly, this barter trade will save you quite a bit of cash over time. And then there is the there's the TV110 barter trade right here. This barter is getting more and more expensive because shampoo is getting more and more expensive. The shampoo is used in the barter trade for this stem, but it is only so this is 30k, and this is 4 bleach is 40k, so it's 70k for a TV110. Considering how much space a TV110 holds, considering how well a TV110 repairs, it's pretty good money. Um, 23 slots, 85 armor points, armored steel, repairs well. Really good rig, 70k, not that much. Really good trade. And you can always anti-roach spray. This is for the impact grenade barter. Pack of nails, impact grenade barter. Printed circuit board is combined with broken G phones. You barter for this. So this pistol comes with a fast fire on top. If you can get the broken G phone and the printed circuit boards for around vendor value, pretty good. This is about, so say this is 24k and this is 11k. That's 36 grand. So we barter for this. We spent 36 grand on this. We take off the fast fire, and boom, we just got a fast fire red dot sight for 2 grand, which is pretty cool. So yeah, and considering how often you're gonna be going through red dot sites, getting them for as cheap as possible is pretty huge. Also, you can do this deal infinitely. There's no limit. So as long as G phones and printed circuit boards are at a good price, you can just keep doing this for more red dots. I mean, you could actually even do it for money if you wanted to. You could just vendor the gun immediately. But I usually just do it for the red dots. Plus, I don't like vendoring stuff to earn money because I feel like BSG will eventually catch on and just nerf the barter because people are just doing it to make money instead of using the gun. So, but that's just my like superstition and paranoia talking. Propitol, people craft this in bulk at their med station, so it regularly goes down in price to 17 to 16,000. So whenever it's around here, if I need some, I'll just buy a batch of 7, because 17 grand for propitol is pretty dirt cheap. And then I'll just put it in my injector case. Raven figurine almost always sells for exactly 30 grand, 28 to 30 grand usually. And there's a phenomenal barter at skier level 4 for the Sigsar suppressor. 30 grand, 30 grand for a suppressor, honestly, is not that much. Especially for one of like, I think this is like a top 3 suppressor. I think it's the PRC is the best one, the Thunder Beast is second best, and I think this is third best. So 30 grand for this, pretty much a steal. I really like it, especially when suppressor prices fluctuate and they go up. Great barter trade. This is for that armor barter I was talking before. Shampoo for the TV110 and shampoo for the ETG stim at therapist. Sewing kits. Okay, so sewing kits. This is a pretty convoluted barter, but I shouldn't say convoluted. I should say like I don't know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, here's the MMAC. This is the barter. This is the rig that was added during the Christmas event. This is a fucking amazing, phenomenal rig. So good. So because of how cheap, so the difference is if you have Ragman level 3, this barter is probably the better to do because it's almost the exact same price, but this one has better effective durability, holds more items, and covers your stomach if you like stomach coverage. But mostly because it holds more stuff. But this is at Ragman level 2. Oh, also the The Anna M2 rig has better penalties and weighs less. So sewing kits are regularly 28, like they're like 27, 28K. They're really cheap. And then ripstop, you might be thinking, "Oh, Bob, just ripstop's 20K. That's so expensive." So what you can do is you can buy Slickers bars, and you can buy 3 Slickers bars for like 30 grand basically, and you can take those Slickers bars and you can barter for 3 scav vests from Jaeger, and then you can craft ripstop in your hideout from your lavatory, and that will cover you'll basically make ripstop for cheaper, and then you can do the barter trade for even cheaper. So that MMAC barter might be only like 35 to 40 grand. So that is another really cheap armor set to do. USB adapters. I had these wishlisted because I'm a big M1A fan. The M1A was probably the gun I used the most in my very first wipe. So sorry, I've got like a cold or a sore throat, but back in the day, I would do this barter all the time. But unfortunately, BSG added a craft for the lithium green batteries a couple weeks ago, and it has since obliterated the price of USB adapters. Normally, you could get these for as low as 4 to 5 grand. I rarely see them below 8 grand now because of the lithium craft. Um, which is why I haven't really bought or made any M1As. See, so the M1A is if you're looking for a fully kitted option, the M1A is has if you want the best semi-automatic 308 MDR, a long barrel fully kitted M1A is better than anything else. If you go full recoil on an M1A, you can get it all the way down to 38 vertical recoil. Or you can do a mixed build and you can get maybe around you can get maybe like 40, 42, 44 ergo and like 48 recoil. So the M1A is definitely the best DMR if you don't care about full auto for the best stats. But it is definitely more expensive. Right now it's not. Well, it's probably tied maybe. But if you want a budget option if you want a budget option with decent stats, the SR25 is better. If you want to fully kit one out, the M1A is probably more expensive than the SR25 just because the parts are more expensive. Because the SAS stock is around 40 grand. Uh, really depends on what you're looking for. I haven't been using the M1As that much lately just because of the USB price, the USB barter getting nerfed. And I didn't know the price had dropped this much on the flea before I made this video. They were like 70 grand last I looked. So definitely worth it for fully kitting one out. Probably around the same price as a fully kitted SR25, maybe a little bit more. I'm sorry, this cold. This cold is murdering me. Oh. Also, sometimes you can scroll down here and people will be selling an already like this is like a marked room M1A that they found. I don't think this is really worth 100 grand. Um, like this says it's 180K, but yeah, see, it's 125 grand, and that's for because you pay 125K for these parts, but then it doesn't. So say if you bought this for 115 grand, you have your gun, but if you bought the parts to kit out on M1A, you could actually you could sell the old barrel and the old stock, which sell for like 20 grand. So building an M1A out is better than buying this for 115K. If someone puts one of these up for 100K or less than 100K, then do that. Okay, moving on. Um, if an M1A is like 45k though, that's definitely a good deal. You can kit one out for once you have level 3 mechanic, you can basically kit out an M1A. Because the SAS stock is mechanic level 4, but people sell it on the flea market for the same price as the trader, so you don't really have to worry about that. There's all my barter trades for making money. Next on the list, would be, let's do hideout. Okay, so there's not a lot to be said in the hideout. One thing that is important as a new player and just anyone who cares about questing, unless you're like, Pestily or Landmark who finds everything because they kill everyone, leveling up your hideout is important for crafting quest items. Just off the top of my head, quest item, quest item, quest item. Let's see here. Not like those are all quest items, and not to mention, with the addition of daily and weekly tasks, the hideout is more important than ever because sometimes you get a weekly task or a daily task that your hideout can craft for you. We're lucky. We're lucky. Not enough station. Not enough space. So, and then we go to the med station. Quest item. Quest item. Quest item. You know, quest item. Quest item. So definitely a lot of things that you want. You want to keep on top of your hideout for like quest item, quest item, quest item. Like it just goes on and on and on. Quest item. So that's what you definitely want to do. As for making things for profit, the nutrition unit when it's early wipe sugar is dirt cheap, and so is milk. So I'll make condensed milk and vendor it to therapist. You can also, if you want, if you make a little bit less money, like maybe like 3k less rubles, but you can also vendor condensed milk to Jaeger to earn money with him. Really good way to earn money with Jaeger. Uh, this is a good trade because later in the wipe, once people start doing Punisher Part 4 or 3, where they need the scav vest, Slicker's bars, the prices skyrocket. So crafting these is good. And then I also craft emergency water rations. Sometimes you lose money on this. Most of the time, I just keep them to use. Med station. Early wipe. I craft the antidote because it vendors well. You can craft. I crafted the antidotes. I would craft SJ6s, and I would craft the med piles. Those are all pretty good crafts throughout the entire wipe. Intelligence Center for money. I swap between the intelligence folder and VPX flash drive storage modules. Getting your hideout up is one of the best ways to make money because of this. My intelligence center is reducing my scav cooldown timer by 41%, which is huge. And the flea market commission, this tax on some big items, like so for some people, a military corrugated hose costs them like 600k to put it on the market for like 1.2 million. For me, it's only like 400,000, 425,000. That flea market commission reduction is massive and makes you so much. It saves you so much money. At the hideout, it really depends. I'm crafting M61 to use right now, but 366 AP is good money. S&B is a good. Oh, you can't sell it on the flea market anymore. Sorry. 366 AP is always pretty good. Yeah, still 900. I usually craft the SP6 and then craft the 366 AP. Weapon parts are pretty expensive early wipe, so I actually did a lot of this craft, the 366 TKM to weapon parts. Magnets were pretty expensive early wipe. This is a good one as well. Nixers, once you unlock Wi-Fi cameras, this is also a really good one. Because so few things can be sold on the flea market now, a lot of these crafts are just good if you need the ammo. If you want to sell it though, M856A1, this is good, but it takes 12 hours. So usually what I do is what I did before when I was crafting for money was I would do a long craft overnight. So I would like this back when you could sell S&B on the market. I would do S&B overnight. I would do 366 AP throughout the day, and then every time I finished an AP craft, I would craft a magnet in between, just to because the way crafting works is you only earn crafting XP if you craft a different item in between another item. So I would go magnet AP, and then I would do like S&B overnight. Lavatory, not much of a moneymaker. Um, you can craft shampoo for kind of a profit. Early wipe, I was crafting. Early wipe, what was I crafting here? I think I was crafting egg cases. Early wipe, all of this stuff was really cheap, and mag boxes were actually expensive. So this was a good trade. Early wipe, this was a good trade too. Paper's expensive now, but early wipe paper's less than 10k, and you can just vendor the toilet paper. Crafting hoses is good early wipe, because corrugated hoses are expensive. That's pretty much the hideout in a gist. I what I usually do for the boost generator is I buy early wipe. I'll buy a ton of sugar, and I will eat the sugar when I'm out. Like if I get out of raid and I'm at like 2 energy, I'll eat sugar until it's at 1 out of 70, and then I'll use that sugar to make booze, to get the most money out of the sugar. See if I can fit that. Pretty lame moonshine case. I won't lie. Oh, and I also run the moonshine scav case nonstop because one, it earns you a shit ton of money, and two, it gives you a lot of quest items. Tank batteries for regulated materials, ophthalmoscopes for private clinic for your thick case, military corrugated tubes, power filters, which you need. Both of those you need for your hideout. Bronze lions, antique vases, cats, teapots, all that stuff you need for Ragman. So one of the main reasons why I run that so often. Okay, and this next section of my ultimate guide will be about my favorite guns, which are 308 guns. And what I think is the best. Now, honestly, like this might be a little biased, probably wrong, but I'm just gonna mention this because they're my favorite guns and what I like the most. So for budget, I like the SR25 the most because you can get one for 60 grand. You can throw on a bunch of barter attachments, and boom, you got yourself a dependable DMR with decent stats that shoots a really nasty bullet. So definitely my favorite for that. Um, best off the flea market. If money is no issue, I think the 308 MDR is definitely the best. It has great MOA, incredible ergonomics. The recoil isn't that bad if you mod it with meta attachments like a PRC suppressor. Weight is decent, and if you put the extreme meta attachments on it, it doesn't matter that they reduce recoil by a ton because its base ergo is so high. So they might have actually nerfed it, to be honest with you, because 89 is much higher than I remember. But still, um, it's fully automatic, and fully automatic with high ergo is really good for CQC. You just throw a hollow sight on this thing, and you can aim down sight incredibly fast and kill people incredibly fast. Moving on, SA-58. I've been told the SA-58 was buffed recently, but even with the buff, there's basically no good barter trades for the SA-58 because all of the items that it barters for are too expensive for the barter to be worth it. So minus points for having shitty barters. It is cheap on the flea, so you can buy one on the flea, and then you can replace the receiver, and then use that. But then you'll have to buy all the parts. So also the stats pretty atrocious. Even with like the best in slot stats, it's not that solid. If we just go with the best of everything. So here's like the best you can do for an SA-58 suppressed. 26 ergo, 81 vertical recoil. Not a fan. It does have full auto, but it'll take you a year to aim down sights. 0.89 MOA, that is really good. Low MOA is very good. This thing is very accurate. It also has a higher velocity than most other semi-automatic slash automatic 308 guns, but the ergo penalty is just so insane, and the recoil is also kind of insane. You can use it unsuppressed if you want. These stats aren't that bad. These stats are actually, in terms of recoil and accuracy, it's better than the 308 MDR, and you can put a 30 round mag in it. So the juice cannon is kind of back in business. It's still really rough to use, and in my opinion, I think you're better off just completely decking out an M1A instead. So even with full auto. So moving on to the other ones, M1A I've already talked about a little bit. The M1A is an absolute fucking monster this patch. A fully kitted M1A. This is 37 ergo, 49 vertical recoil. If you put on an RK2 and you put on a if you put on a PRC, an RK2, and a PRS Gen 3 stock, you can get this down to 38 recoil. I mean, of course, you don't have any ergo, but still. Like 30, or you could do 30 ergo and 444 vertical recoil. Like this gun is a monster. This wipe, especially with the new suppressor muzzle kit on, and the new updated you couldn't put the Mesa tactical tube on the M1A until this patch, I believe. So that addition gives it even more recoil reduction than before. So obviously, this is extremely expensive, but it's insane. So you get what you pay for, is all I'm saying. And also, if money is no issue, and if you wanted an automatic loud gun with low recoil, I think you're better off buying this Scar, because if you put on the BMD, where's the SE5? I'm blind. There it is. So here, also you get better pistol grips. So this is already better stat wise than the this is already better stat wise than the what's it called? This is better stat wise than the Scar. I'm so stupid. This is better than the SA-58 in terms of stats, and you have more ergo. The only downside compared to the SA-58 is that you cannot run 30-round mags in the Scar. I believe it's only 20-round mags right now. Yeah, it's only 20-round mags. But it is almost as accurate as the SA-58. I'm pretty sure it's significantly lighter than the SA-58, and you have almost double the ergonomics. So this gun is obviously going to be more expensive to run than an SA-58, but you are paying for significantly faster aim down sights time. So if you wanted to run a loud 308 weapon, I would run this. It's cheaper than the 308 MDR, I believe. This is 1327. This is 1422. So you're getting about 15 better recoil than the 308 MDR, and it's also cheaper than the 308 MDR. Also, the 308 MDR is harder to get back in insurance because it's a tinier gun. So I think the Mark 17 actually does have a place. The tan, even with the long barrel, the tan Mark 17 is less accurate than the black one. So I would use this one over the tan one. It is a little bit more expensive, but I think it's worth it. Plus, this one comes with the long barrel, which I think is important. Okay, moving on again. RSAS, way too expensive to use, in my opinion. I don't if it's semi-automatic, like you're paying the same price as the Scar for a semi-automatic gun, and it's fucking huge. I think you're better off just either using an SR-25 or an M1A compared to the RSAS. I don't think the RSAS is worth taking in unless you find one. G28, also more expensive than the M1A, and I will admit I use the G28, but it is more expensive than the M1A and the SR-25, but it is lighter than the M1A. It's lighter than the M1A. It's as accurate as the M1A, and it's shorter than the M1A in terms of barrel length. It does have more recoil, but it also has more ergo. But it's as expensive. It's almost as expensive, if not more expensive, than a fully kitted M1A, but has worse stats. So there's definitely an argument to be made that this gun is not worth it to use. I just like using it because it's new. I also think a big problem with the G28 is that you cannot buy 20 round G28 mags until you are Peacekeeper level 4. Even though you can buy the gun at level 33 from Jaeger, for some reason you can't buy the mags until level 37, which is a big kick in the nuts. So and then I think that covers all the 308 guns. So yeah. Super long video. Not a lot of gameplay, I'm sorry, but I'm just dropping all the knowledge I've accumulated that makes me rich with a ton of guns. So yeah, make your wish list, people. Oh, also, this is obvious, but you need to play a lot. But I mean, I have a job. I haven't played a raid. I haven't done a PMC raid in the past 2 weeks. I think I've done like 4 or 5 PMC raids. So if you're a player who plays less frequently than I do, but you play longer than I do, this is totally possible for you as well. If you just pinch your pennies, do your scav runs. Yeah. I hope this helps somebody. Thank you for watching. And I don't think I have anything else on my list. I went through everything. So enjoy, and thank you.